What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and you are listening to Podcasting Business School, the show where I teach podcasters how to love their show like a hobby and build it like a business. Today, we've got a podcast audit episode with my pod pal, Travis from the Print on Demand podcast. Travis, welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be here.
All right. So let's take a peek at some podcasting goals. So between now and 6 months from now, let's say your brand and your show and your business really takes off. Kind of paint that picture of what that could potentially look like for us.
Sure. I think one of the things that I'd like to see is obviously just more downloads. But I think before that, I want to have the structure for, monetization really kind of mapped out. Um, Started to do a little bit of coaching, did some discovery calls and people said yes really quickly to my offer. And I was like, and we haven't announced that at all. It was just kind of, um, from people emailing the show, asking questions. I said, hey, it sounds like maybe, we should do a discovery call and let's see if it makes sense. So to me, that was kind of that's the test, and it sounds like people are ready for that. Um, but I don't necessarily want to start announcing that until I have a few more things, maybe. I don't know if I need them, but so I guess in 6 months, I would like to have more products available for our audience, and then I'd like to start building that audience. I think that there's a lot of opportunity in this space, and I'm terrible at social media, so maybe having some type of a social media strategy would be something that I'd like to see in 6 months. But basically, I just want it to be a fully mature podcast that's making me millions of dollars a year in 6 months. All right,
In
Adam, your
6
turn.
months. And here we go. Yes, yes. So what maybe just for our audience's benefit, can you
Sure.
explain your ideal listener / client avatar and who you're looking to connect with?
Yeah, this is an ever evolving topic, I think, because so we are in the print on demand space. Basically, I've had a print shop. We've produced products for our own sales channels like Amazon, Walmart, Etsy, and then we also produce for other people. And then my friend, who's my co-host on the show, Josiah, also was doing the same thing with his father-in-law at another print shop. And so we decided to make the show that we'd always wanted when we started. And so we've done it. We've been doing it for 3 years. We've slowly built an audience, but it hasn't really blown up the way we thought it might. And we also haven't monetized it at all. So it's been a passion project. Now that we're kind of saying, basically I am saying I have more time on my hands. I've shut down my production facility. So I'm really just focusing on my stuff and then a few clients. So I have a lot more time. I'm like, I need to make this work. I need to make money on this thing that we've put so much blood, sweat, and tears over the years. So all of that to say is at first we didn't really have an ideal client. It was kind of, if you're interested in print on demand, you might have your own production facility. You might just be interested in outsourcing all of your production. You might want to sell on Etsy. You might want to sell on Amazon. You might want to sell on Shopify and build a brand. We would create shows for all of those people. And while I think, I don't know that it's worked. I mean, if you look at our numbers, so maybe we do need to niche down a little bit. But I think what I found is even those 3 people that I did the calls with, they were all in different places. And so that's kind of what we're drawing because we've done so many different things. Like one guy wants to build a brand, one guy wants to sell just on channels, one guy has already done like $10 million on Amazon and he just wants to add print on demand to his portfolio on Amazon, and that's all he wants to do. So there's no one size fits all solution, which has really, I think, just caused me to not build a course, because I didn't know who my audience really is. And it's still really hard to like decide because I don't want to leave anybody out that we've catered to up to this point.
Yeah. Okay. That was super helpful. And I've got a few ideas to share here that, again, when we do these podcast audits, my main goal is clarity. Like I wanted to kind of filter out certain things and really focus
Mhm.
in on like, what's the next step? What's the next domino that we need to push over together here to create momentum in the right direction? So with people in your stage of the podcasting journey, like you said, you're still learning who your ideal listener slash ideal client is, and you're still learning how you can best serve them. And traditionally, when I'm working with people like yourself, I'm like, I want you to create what I call an ideal listener journey, which is where like I have I've done a couple of these for my show, but most recently it was like the podcasting business success timeline. And I'm like, there's 4 phases. And if you're in this phase, you're experiencing this thing. And then here's the next action
Mhm.
steps to help people self identify where they're at. And I think you could totally do that. But I had this
Mhm.
weird idea that just popped in my head that maybe it's an alternative solution or just a slight variation of creating an ideal listener journey, because you may not have a specific timeline, but what
Mm.
you may have is like print on demand. I don't know if this is the right word or not, but like personality types. Like you could even
Mhm.
like name them like the successful entrepreneur, and that's the person that's just wanting to add print on demand to their already successful business
Mhm.
ecosystem. And then you've got the part-timer, and that is the person that's just wanting to make some side cash because they think this is a cool avenue to explore. Then
Mhm.
you've got the wannabe full-timer or the wannabe CEO or whatever. Like you have these like
Yeah, yeah.
personality types, and then you go, what do they want? What do they want? What's their goal? What do they want to
Mm.
achieve? What are descriptive terms of what they're currently experiencing? So maybe that part-timer, like they're hungry to make more money, they have an entrepreneurial mindset, but they also have, you know, these 3 frustration points where they have a lack of knowledge on how to do this. They are making bad choices with their budget because they don't know
Mm.
what's a good investment and what isn't, and or like things like that. So like a few good
Okay.
things when you describe them, a few things that there are pain points or frustration zones. And then you
Mhm.
can still be like, if you want to move from being the part-timer to the wannabe full-timer or whatever, like if you're going to move from one personality to the other, here are a few action steps I'd recommend to
Mhm.
kind of either solidify this position or grow to the next one. And that way you can kind of investigate. I think you can create offers based off of this.
Mm.
And you go like when you're doing a discovery call, it's kind of your job at first going, all right, what personality type is this person that I'm it's not a really personality type. You get like what description, which description fits this person the most. And then you go, okay, these type of people, they tend to need this type of an offer. And you've got that
Mm.
to kind of deliver on the other end. Now, as you're getting started, you're going back to your kind of question about like how many offers do we need? Do I need to have them all ready to go when I'm kind of promoting discovery calls and things like that?
Mhm.
One of the reasons why I love what I call a start anytime offer is that it can kind of be a blanket offer where you can serve different groups. So, I've talked a lot about my 2 week consultation offer where we put that together, and it's like we're going to work together for 2 weeks, but you can customize that 2 week experience to focus on different things. So there's not like an online course that goes with it. There's not an ebook. There's no video or written materials that are specific to a certain outcome.
Mhm.
But you can dig in and go, okay, this person's kind of a business 101 person for the 2 week consultation period. We're going to do my 5-step getting started checklist, and I'm going to work them through that when we do our video calls, and I'm going to have some
Mm.
emails ready to go, or maybe you have some different resources that you can kind of plug them into, and versus consulting with somebody that's got a multi-million-dollar company and they just want to blow things up with a print on
Right.
demand add-on. That's a different client, and they have different pain points, and you can deliver what they need. And then honestly, I think this is kind of what I did starting out in the podcasting business space, transitioning from the health space. I had to figure out what I can deliver on, how I can best help them. And then I started creating courses based off of like a year's worth of just consulting packages. And then I'm
Yeah.
like, but basically what I did, Travis, was I figured out like what are the things that I'm saying over and over and over and over and over again. that I may eventually get sick of saying over and over and over again, like with the things that I'm teaching to everybody. So I started creating courses out of that. So now I'm like, all right, now I've got a signature offer where I can say, you get this course that covers all the really important, but stuff that I don't necessarily want to teach live. And
Mhm.
then when we are live together, I can show you how to apply those things specifically to you, how you need to use those things. And that way it's always interesting to me as a creative person.
Yeah.
That's really important. And I can add my Adam herbs and spices. And all of a sudden, now I'm showing you how to apply that stuff. And I'm fired up about it. You're fired up about it. And we're making a really much better use of our time.
Mhm.
So I'll put a pin in it. I'll pump my brakes. So we have two ideas there that kind of like the personality profile, organizing your potential prospects, and then having a blanket offer that could serve any of those as we learn who we ideally want to serve. So any thoughts, questions, ideas off of those two things?
Yeah, I like we've done similar things with the channels, the sales channels, and like likened them to like shops in the mall, that so we've done that type of thing. I like doing that with the different kind of avatars and having that ideal podcast journey, I really like that. I think one question that I did have was, since we haven't advertised that we're doing coaching, or that I'm doing coaching. We haven't really done that. So what's your, like, how would you ramp up once you do kind of, I mean, maybe I have this print on demand, or I introduce, like we're actually recording a podcast later today, and we didn't necessarily have a topic. That's a whole nother thing about organization we won't go into, but this is a great topic, I think, for even today's show, like just identifying that. And so introducing that, but then like my thinking is, uh, as we're recording this at the end of November, in January sometime, that's when I would really launch this, coaching thing. But introducing this concept now, do you kind of just just hit that over the head, keep talking about those different things,
Yeah.
and like what's the best way to launch that those offers?
Okay, so I don't think there is a bad way to do it. We can talk like optimal ways to do it for sure. So what I don't want you to be, I don't want you to let perfect be the enemy of good enough to get us
S-
going. You
Story
know,
of my life, man.
yeah. I've
We've been
talked to you
doing this
twice.
3 years.
I'm like
Yeah.
Travis is an optimizer here. So that's important. Just getting it out there, starting ugly, just getting it
Yep.
going, figuring things out. And that is one of the reasons why I love that blanket 2-week consultation offer. It's like when I do those types of packages, we're using Google Sheets, we're using Zoom, we're using Voxer, all things that we all have access to. There's no course. I mean, I can create a new 2-week consult offer right now, and I can sell it right now, and I can deliver on it right now, and there's
Mm.
nothing needed. So that's important. But I think ramp up wise, I love the idea of whether you do the different avatars or put it in a timeline format or a little bit of both. I love
Mhm.
the idea of rolling that out as an episode and then using that as kind of a benchmark and referring back to it and going, okay, episode 194. That's the, if you're brand new to the show, I want you to listen to this episode, but then go back to episode 194 where I unveil the blah, blah, blah timeline, because that's going to be very helpful for you if you are X, Y, and Z. It's kind of use it in your email marketing and just kind of get that one
Mhm.
ingrained in their head. But then any opportunity in the future, in future episodes, if you start doing coaching style episodes, refer back to that timeline avatar, like, oh, you're a blah 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 avatar, you fit this
Mm.
description, and here's why. Because we want to get inside their head a little bit and be like, yeah, he's saying the things that I am feeling, those are the frustrations that I'm feeling. And so then the
Yeah.
suggestions that you make, they're like, oh, these are the suggestions because everything else matches up. This only makes sense. So I like the idea of rolling that info out on the show as an episode, and kind of every opportunity you get to refer back to it. But then after you
Mm.
kick it out there, I say we start doing discovery call to actions out there. Like, if you want to sign up for a blah 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 discovery call, here's who it's for, here's what it's about, and then just start putting that out there consistently, week after week after week, as a single call to action. Like, I'm really going to push this even more in 2024, where I'm like, I really think people who are just getting started in coaching consulting, the CTA needs to be a discovery call. And we need to get better at just having that as the single CTA. We
Mhm.
need to get better at doing discovery calls, the onboarding, and all the things, the data collection, and the actual discovery call itself. But I think just getting the timeline concept out there, and then we start rolling out discovery calls to action. During episodes, doing a quick mention like, oh, and if you're struggling with this is a great opportunity for you to get on one of those new discovery calls that we're doing. And we want to name the discovery call appropriately so it attracts the right person. And it's not like the tire kickers that are just like, well, let me think about this for 4 years before I take any monetary action.
Right.
So I think that's something that, I mean, that's a very simple game plan, but I think it will work because once you start having people on discovery calls that are like, yeah, man, let's do it. Let's go. Then you kind of have to be in business. There's no more waiting around for Travis to, create an online course or
Mhm.
create a mastermind and get all these bells and whistles. It's just like you're
Yeah.
in business. They're ready. And
Mhm.
um, I mean, they want your knowledge, they want your experience, and it doesn't always matter what kind of vehicle that's in, as long as you're delivering on what they're trying to achieve. Does that make sense?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, it does. Yeah, the technical side of it, getting the Calendly all set up and all of those other things, as I was preparing to come on here and, you've got it all like figured out. You've got all that technical stuff done. And as you know, I really want everything to be perfect before I launch. And so I haven't gotten the Calendly yet, but as we're moving towards this, there's just all of these like little pieces that um I don't want someone to fall through the cracks because it's not organized on the back end.
Yeah.
So, do you have any tips on kind of keeping the back end side of it like set up?
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scheduling, right?
Yeah. I mean, whenever I'm doing a new project like this, I like Evernote. People use, Google Sheets, Google Docs, whatever. Like I like having an
Mhm.
organization hub where I have my checklist. And so I'm
Mm,
like, what are all the steps I kind of brain dump. Here are all the steps. And then I put them in the right order that I think are the right order. And then I start checking them off as I go. And then I've got kind of a master weekly calendar that, every Thursday I've got to review this project
mm,
checklist and make sure like, okay, as I set up my next week of work, like what are the key things that I need to do to kind of nudge this forward every single week. So I think that will be super helpful. So you're looking at like let's say we're going to get cranking on this. So what's the list of things that we need to do? Uh, Number one, we got to create that episode. We got to create an episode that unpacks. Well, okay, even before that, the real number one is you have to develop the avatars or the timeline.
mm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's an 80% good rough draft. I've done multiple episodes where I've updated like my podcasting business success timeline or all these different things. So get it
Mhm.
to where it's like 80% good. It makes sense. Let's roll it out. Then we record the episode, put it out there, and then we start optimizing for discovery calls. So we got to sign up for Calendly or another scheduling software. I love Calendly because it's super simple and it's like $7 a month. And
Mhm.
I'm a big fan, not an affiliate, just a big fan. So then we go, okay, we signed up for that. Then we have to set up the email collection process of like, what does that look like? So if somebody's going to do a discovery call, how often do I want them to be able to book? And so for me, I'm big on like a 10-day window. Sometimes I'll push it out to a 14-day window. I don't want to give somebody 3 months to book a discovery call because they probably won't show
Mm.
up and they probably don't have the same pain point as what we're dealing with right
Right.
now.
That makes sense.
Um,
Yeah.
so, and anywhere between a 5 and 10 day window, I feel like is a pretty good discovery call window. So if you're like with me working 3 days a week, I had to extend it out because if somebody tries to sign up on like a Thursday, they're not going to see anything because I don't work again until Tuesday. So,
Mhm. Right.
and it just gets annoying. So that way, there's always something out there a couple weeks out. So then we got the availability figured out. What onboarding questions are we going to ask as they sign up? That would be another part of the checklist. So we go, okay, I want them. I definitely in a discovery call situation, I want to know their pain points and I want to know their budget if I'm available to solve those pain points with one of my offers. Those are the
Mm.
two key things that we got to get. Then
Yeah.
anything else that you want, throw it in there. But pain points. I like kind of a pain point checklist, kind of a check all that apply. What are you struggling with most right now? Check all that apply. List 5, 6,
Yeah.
7 things. And as you develop your business, you will have offers that solve every single one of those pain points. Like that's kind of the goal of
Mm.
collecting all that. Then the
Mhm.
next question, if I'm able to solve these pain points with one of my offers, what kind of a budget would really be ideal for you? And kind of give them some zones of your different pricing with your offers,
Mhm.
and they will select whatever. And then now pain points, which one of your offers matches up best with their budget, and that way we can have a successful discovery call. So I think those are the main things of setting
Mm.
up the discovery call. And then somebody actually hires you. Oh man, okay. So what's the checklist look like for that? We got to
Yeah.
be able to collect payment. So whether that's like paid
Mhm.
PayPal or um
Stripe or yeah.
right, yeah, anything like
Mhm.
that. Got to invoice them, get some money, goes to the right bank account. So that's another checkbox that we got to check off. Then for me, it's like the connection tools. How are the sessions going to be done with the 2-week consult? I'm a big fan of week 1. We do a 45-minute on Zoom. Week 2, we do a 15-minute on Zoom as a follow up. So we got to have Zoom set up or some sort of communication
Mhm.
platform. Then I like to make notes and share those notes. So I use a Google Sheet. I create a little dashboard on Google of like the session notes, goals for the client, homework for me,
Mhm.
homework for them. Uh, a couple tabs, we're good to go there. And then I set them up on the Voxer app, which is a free communication app. You can just use email. I like it's nice having for me having our conversation on a separate app where it's like I can see everything that we're doing right there. It's not getting lost or filtered out in email land.
Mm.
Voice notes, sharing documents, sharing images, text, whatever. And I don't know, it just creates a private
Mhm.
conversation feel of like it's like I'm focusing just on you. I'm not buzzing through a million emails right now. Makes it easy to send voice messages. So, but those are all Zoom, Google Sheet, Voxer. We're up and running. So that's kind of the checklist that I would have you create. And then over the next couple of weeks, start checking those boxes, get that all in place. And now you're ready to do business. So when people hop on a discovery call, they're like, yes, Travis, let's get started. I'm this avatar. I have this pain point. I want to sign up for this
Mhm.
2-week consultation service. Here's my money. Let's get started next week. And
Yeah.
that's what it looks like. And just doing that over and over and over again, you'll start to develop other offers, like I said, out of that, where now you can develop a course and have a signature offer where it's coaching plus a course, or
Mhm.
develop a membership on the back edge, the print on demand society, where people who graduate through your signature offer, now they have a place to come for monthly meetings to share ideas and crowdsource ideas and kind of mastermind it up. Other offers peel off of this. But I think with your type of business, you could get away with 2 to 3, maybe 4 total offers, but you don't need to have them all ready to go all at once. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. When you ask people for their budget, how many of them just select the lowest one? Is that the one
Uh,
that's most selected?
no. I mean, I feel like it's an honest
Hmm.
result. Like I mean, I feel like people are really honestly answering it just because I'm dealing with people that listen to my show. And there's kind of that rapport built up, and there's like we've
Mhm.
spent time together. They listen, they know my personality, they know I'm a real person, they know I'm taking real time to look at what they have, and if I'm spending time with them, like that's special to me. Like I don't just like take that for granted.
Mhm.
So for the most part, I feel like people will answer honestly, and I respect what they talk about there. So if they're like, well, I'm in the $97 to $900 budget range, I'm not pitching them something that's 5K.
Yeah.
I pay
Yeah.
attention to that. And I'm like, hey, $97, let's try out Download Growth Club for a month. I'll even give you a discount to knock it down to 25 your first month. Let's check it out. Let's get you
Mhm.
started and see how I can help you out. Now, the folks that tend to pick that mid-range or upper range budget are almost always a yes. I have
Mhm.
found that people that are openly
Okay.
like, yes, my budget is 2 to 5K. I mean, more often than not, those are the people that are ready to go right away, and they are more serious. So you definitely want to have those ranges, and as you develop more offers, like I think mine is like 97 to 997, and then 1,000 to 2,500, and then it's like 2,500 to 5,000, 5,000 plus, or something like that.
Mhm.
So, um,
Yeah.
yeah, so give them options and make sure you eventually you have offers to fit those options. What you don't want to do is be like, someone checked 5,000 plus. I got to come up with a fancy offer to sell to this person. Um, so maybe it's a little more
Right.
simple as you start, but it's just like, 97 or even like 500 to a 1K and then 1K to 2K. And that could be your
Mhm.
kind of your two options, whether you spend 2 weeks with them or 4 weeks with them. And that way,
Mhm.
you're good to go. So I think that's the direction that I would take it. So is that helpful?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I could spend a lot more time, but I know that, you probably have another one of these because you have so many things that you schedule, so
On Calendly. So shout out to Calendly.
That's
So
right.
I want to make sure that we give you a chance to shout out your website and where people can connect you on
Sure.
social, all the good things. So go ahead and go for it, man.
Yeah, sure. So we're printondemandcast.com. And if you didn't figure it out already, it's the PODcast, which is the podcast, which is the best freaking name of a podcast ever. I couldn't believe that it was available. And I still brag about it to this day. If you want to follow us, we've got a Facebook group, printondemandcast.com/Facebook, printondemandcast.com/Instagram/YouTube. That'll take you to all of our stuff. Like I said, we're not great on social media. I do really enjoy the community aspect of the group though, and helping people answer questions in that group. And I think we could get better at some of the other things that in social media land with Instagram, and it'd be really cool to blow up our YouTube and all of that stuff. But it's a process, and I've really just decided to kind of go all in with this in the last, I don't know, in the last 3 or 4 months. So, yeah, I can't wait to see where we are actually in 6 months as
Yep.
we implement all this cool stuff, Adam. Thanks
Yes.
for having me on the show, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what you do with it. I can't wait to check back and watch all the growth. And, you make that first $1,000 offer, 5K offer. Like those are things that are so exciting and it's so
Mhm.
validating. And you're like, wow, I'm adding enough value to people that they want to pay me actual money. This is crazy and it's awesome. So yeah,
Yeah.
if you guys are in the print on demand world or you want to be in the print on demand world, go check out our pod pal Travis over here. Support another podcaster and check out all the info on his show, on his socials, and he will take good care of you. All right. Speaking of taking good care of you, if you guys want to come on the show for a podcast audit, we are now booking for the new year. So hop on the website, podcastingbusiness.school, get signed up, grab your spot. And I will see you on the show. And with that, Pod Pals, I'm going to send you out into the world wishing you health, happiness, and many downloads. We'll see you next time.